This was before they did You're supposed to put your feet on it.
You think if we did it this year, that quote for, or that
He
said he was
estimate
going
for
to be
Hawkins is accurate, even if we did it like later in
That's right.
the summer or something?
Where's the hot tub?
You know, it all depends on how much of that kind of work gets bid. Because the more it gets bid, they load their schedules up, and then later in the year you bid it, the higher the prices are.
So if we tacked it on to whatever.
Andrew, did you give all that
year.
PPP or PPE away in your office?
I still have a couple boxes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I think I have like 4 of them
Exec
left.
session.
Really?
Yeah.
Those small
Okay.
jobs like that are
Get
so
signature pages
unpredictable.
then.
It's
I
tough
think
to,
we ended up giving
you know,
out.
I'm sure
close
there's
to
some
it
100.
for
all depends on the bidding
Yeah.
environment.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul's
Yeah.
got space for
So we
this,
got a
he just
second
needs
round
it.
of them, just a
Oh,
few
okay.
extra.
And that was
We're gonna
all,
publish it
that was all
tomorrow
paid
if we
for
get
by
the
the CARES
signatures, so.
funding?
Which one
Yes.
for these?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
That's the one that's
Cool.
required.
Okay.
Yeah, the boxes were pretty nice. Everything that it had in it, it was more than I expected.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I should get my presentation sitting down.
No.
One more
Did you
of
say
the
no?
grants. Any more of those? Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll be led by a pledge and allegiance and invocation by Councilman Proctor.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, thank you so much for this wonderful community and the way that you've blessed us all. We ask for your wisdom and guidance as we seek to make decisions and guide this community to a more prosperous tomorrow. In Jesus' name, amen.
Item C, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion by Brent,
Second.
second by Michael. All in favor, say aye. Okay, motion passes. Item D, citizen comments. Is there anybody from the audience that would like to make a comment for 3 minutes? No one? Okay, we'll move on to the next item.
Item F, consent agenda, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of January 19, 2020. Accounts payable dated January 21, 2021 for $112,119.58. And January 27, 2021 for $35,494.15.
Make a motion to approve the accounts payable in the minutes?
Second.
Motion by Brent, second by Michael. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Item G, unfit habitation, 1529 Summerwood.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, this is a quick background. On March 13, 2020, the city has conducted a preliminary investigation into a property located in the 1500 block of the Season subdivision and has determined based on this investigation that the property is unfit for human habitation. On October 19, 2020, the governing body signed a resolution for the condemnation hearing for December 7, 2020. On December 7th, the governing body decided to extend the grace period for the owner till February 1st, 2021 for review of work accomplished inside the property. And during this hearing, the governing body will make a decision as to what should be done, if anything, to remedy the property in question. Quick analysis, the City of Goddard Code Officer, being myself, found the following non-compliance with the City of Goddard Code, Chapter 4, Article 7, for the listed property below. The following constitutes a blighting influence under Kansas Statutes annotated 12-1750D. Defects increasing the hazard of fire, accident, or other calamities. Sanitary facilities have been disconnected since January 1st, 2020. Uncleanliness. The lien holder, who is here today, MidFirst Bank, has been notified. This is a review of the timeline. February 1st day will be the final and concluding hearing for this matter, unless the governing body would like to extend it further. This is some of the remedying that's been done inside the property. As you can see, that there's been substantial change to the inside of the kitchen area, but there is still some substantial work that needs to be done on some of the guest rooms, some of the closets, including some of the adjacent rooms down the alley, down the hallway, and in the guest room and in the basement. There is a small cost associated with publication. Legally, it is approved as to form. I would like to invite the property owner, Melanie Brown, to speak on behalf of herself for a couple minutes if she chooses to. After which, I would like to invite Josh of Pathway Church, who is there as well, to speak for a couple minutes. And then I would also like to invite Blair, who represents MidFirst Bank. He is the mortgage holder, to speak as well. So at this time, if you'd like to speak, you may so. Prefer to defer. Josh, if you would. Thank you.
We realize the situation, and we've been in and we've looked. Melanie is in a situation, she needs some help, and we, as a church, as a group, we have a group of wonderful men who would be willing to help anytime, and not just for this situation. We hope that we wouldn't have to be here at this point. Okay, so we want to offer help for the community, not just for Melanie, but we're super thankful that we're able to provide some help for her, and even though it's a little bit late, and we just hope that maybe in the future we will be able to be of service in any way that we can for any family or somebody in the community that needs help. We realize that this is a problem. She knows it is. She wants help, and we're super thankful for that. But at the same time, this also hurts, and we don't want to hurt people in our community. We want to help people in our community. We want to keep them here. And so if this is coming to this point, we would hope that from now on that we wouldn't have to get here. And so this has caused hurt. She didn't know how to seek help. Some people, we all have issues and things in our life where we come across, and we're not here to judge anybody, but just because of this that causes hurt and neighbors and feelings, and we want our neighbors to feel welcome, and we want people to be able to reach out. And so we want to provide a service, not just for today and just for Melanie, but for the future. So just want to stand up as a voice for our community.
And Josh?
Yes, sir.
Right, Josh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And so you're part of Pathway?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. That's awesome. Well, I guess what's your guys' plan for Melanie?
We've spoken with Melanie. We've sat with her and talked. We have a plan to meet this Saturday. We group them in and a team to go over and help her and assist her in any way that we can. We have plans to box and pack her things. So she's planning on moving at this point. And she's just, she doesn't feel welcome. And at this point, it's just a lot for her to handle. So we're going to help her clean the property. And hopefully when when we're done, it'll be ready and clean, and whatever remodels, or somebody be able to go in there and tackle it, and it won't be a mess. We've looked at the house. There is no mold. Okay, and of course she's got accumulation of things, but there's no mold. The water, as you know, has been shut off for a time, so it's and the house doesn't leak, the roof doesn't leak. It's a wonderful house. So, from the outside, the structure is all really good. But at this point, we're just going to help her get her things, back up, and move her and assist her in going to where she needs to go. And then that way, the bank or the city can take over from that point. So we're asking for about a month.
Does Melanie plan on moving back once the house if it is cleaned up? And
I
it's back up.
can't speak for her on that. I know at this point that she's just planning to try to get some of her stuff out of there and get into another place so that she can get the place cleaned up and we can help her and assist her with that. So at that point, it'd be something for her, her and the bank. I don't know. So,
Thank you, Josh.
yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh.
At this point, I'd like to invite Blair, MidFirst Bank, to come speak on behalf of the mortgage holder.
Thank you. Just a brief comments. Nothing's really changed from the bank's perspective since the last meeting. The homeowner's not in what we call a monetary default. The loan is current. It's arguably occupied, or if he hasn't abandoned it, I should say. So there's no course that my client can take at this time. Again, pending your all's decision as far as an eviction or condemnation moving forward. If property becomes vacant, there's, again, some events that are triggered that may lead to a potential foreclosure place for my client. May be invested in bringing the property up to compliance, but we're not there, and hopefully with the help of the local community here, we don't get there. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but as I said, my client is kind of waiting on the council's lead here to determine what's going to happen with the property before they know what actions are available to them.
So she's not in default, so we give a month at least. They get her moved, then it can, I assume it can't go on the market as is. But if it's something that it's brought up to marketable, then it gets put on the market and sold, and then she pays off her debt and gets anything above that, and
Right, I don't have
That's
any
how
kind
that-
of
is that
equity.
how that works?
Sure, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't have any kind of equity analysis at this time. I don't know
okay.
what the state of the property is. I'm not sure exactly where we're at on that. But, obviously, when we get the house paid off, we can get what we call a payoff quote to her. So the next step to assess, whether or not a sale is viable at that point. If there's some other what we call loss mitigation options to her as well, if a full payoff can't be achieved. But again, I think we're kind of far away from that point. First step is obviously getting the house into a sellable condition, which I think sounds like they're on track to do.
Well, I think that, just in my opinion, and I'll speak without hearing your guys' voice, but it's nice to know that Josh and your guys' team is working with Melanie. That's what we wanted to see from, the genesis of all this. I would be okay with giving them another month to try to fix the problem and move forward, but of course, it's up to you guys.
I'd like to know how it's going to proceed after the month. Is Melanie going to try to sell the house then, or is she going to?
Yes, I've already found somewhere else to live. I've already moved some of my stuff. So I'm in the process of moving right now.
And how do you propose to sell the house? Is it going to go to auction, or how's it going to go?
I don't know. I've already replaced some of the flooring, and most of the other things that need to be fixed are things that I can fix fairly affordably, so I think that we'll be able to sell the house.
Well, I guess
Certainly for more than I owe on it.
I guess my concern is after the 30 days, we're not going to know who to contact to get things rolling as far as finishing up this deal. Do we contact the bank, or do we contact Melanie? Who do we contact?
She would still be the title holder and the bank, so we would contact both of them.
Sir, if I may, just to make it clear, we are not just here to clean her house. We're going to provide her help to get it up, going, get the plumbing working, whatever she needs to get done. We want to help her get her things taken care of. So we're planning this Saturday to pack and clean. Following Saturday, move as much as we have packed and done, and then and move forward from there. So the thing is, I have a great, wonderful team of men. Of course, everybody has a job, and we can donate our Saturdays and dedicate our full Saturdays to helping her and provide help for the community. So that's our plan to move forward. So when we're done, everything should be working. I'm not going to say that it's perfect condition, but she should be able to sell the home at that point.
Well, I think our big thing is that in 30 days it would meet code, I think. Isn't that right?
Yes, so the options would be to sign the resolution and set a date for the work to be finished by. If it fails to be finished in that amount of time that's set, it would be considered condemned at that point, and the city would own the property. You can then, either that or option two would be a table for further review and discussion, or option three would be consider the work done by the property owner as sufficient and the case closed, meaning that the city's not going to follow up anymore after this. So ultimately be directed staff accordingly, so the city council would have to make that decision. Signing the resolution does set a time, but there are, if extenuating circumstances reveal that she should be given more time, you can extend that within the resolution. So there's options there as well. But ultimately, if you set a date, you're saying that this date, you must comply by this time, and unless sufficient work has shown that they've gotten up to a certain standard, then the property is condemned. But if it has shown, if they can show that they've gotten up to a certain standard within that 30 days, or however much time you want to give them, then you can extend it. And then we would just continue to follow up.
Setting a date sets a precedence, though, like after the date is finished, right? It's condemned if it's not up to standard.
Correct, unless they show that the work has been done to satisfy those needs. And
Setting a date kind of makes me nervous, because now we're relying on good members of the community to dedicate their weekends to try to help Melanie. I think for us to table at option two, work with you, Josh, and your team. I mean, she's living out there, and that was my biggest concern, is her safety. I mean, ultimately, we want the community members to be safe. And that was my biggest concern, her actually living in that residence. Now that we know she's not living in there, now we know we got a good team that are going to try to help fix it. I'd like to see her sell the home if she has any equity after that point, her to take that equity and move on with her life. I think tabling the situation, option two, is the right thing to do.
But can we just table it until the first meeting in March?
And reconvene with Josh and your team. Is that okay?
That'd be wonderful.
Is that okay with you guys?
I think that's a great idea.
I'll make a motion to go with option two, to table for further review and discussion for the first meeting in March.
Second.
Motion by Sarah, second by Brent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Josh and Pathway, for taking up this call.
You're very welcome. We look forward to helping the community any way we can in the future.
Do you have Mike as a member?
We do.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. God bless you.
Tonight, this is the final step in issuing the 2021-1 temp note for the new improvements at Rustic Creek. City Council has accepted petitions and adopted resolutions for improvement, which include paving, stormwater and drain improvements, water distribution system improvements, and sanitary sewer, all of which total the amount of the issuance would be $2,107,000. The resolution that you'll adopt tonight authorizes the issuance, sale, and delivery of the notes, authorizes the mayor, city staff, financial advisor, and bond counsel to execute the necessary action to complete the delivery and filing of the notes. Like I said, it's $2,107,000 plus interest charges for 3 years, redemption option on after April 1, 2023. This is Brian showed you this last week. We're down to the temporary note placement sale, or authorize the temporary note placement / sale. And then after this item, Brooke will, I believe you're doing the bid award.
Yes.
Okay. For the improvements. It's been approved by our bond counsel, city attorney. Brett's here tonight, our advisor, if you have any questions for him, and Brian Peck as well. So recommend adopt the resolutions as presented. Unless you have any questions for me or any of our guests.
Any questions?
And does this need a voice or a roll call, Terry, for the
No,
actual resolution?
not for a resolution.
Okay.
I motion to waive the reading of the resolution.
Motion by Michael,
Second.
second by Sarah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
And I'd also like to consider resolution, motion to consider the resolution.
Motion by Michael,
Second.
second by Sarah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
I
Thank
think
you.
resolution 2110.
Oh, mayor declares the resolution adopted.
And the number will be 2110.
Okay. Oh, you said aye declare?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready for next time?
Yep.
Honorable Mayor and Council, item H2 is Rustic Creek Sanitary Sewer Bid Awards. Little background on this. On February 6th of this year, the council accepted petitions and adopted resolutions for improvement to Phase 1 of the development for Rustic Creek addition. On February of last year, my correction there. January 19, 2021, the City Council approved Resolution 2108. That included the petitions and resolutions authorizing improvements for construction of Phase 1 sanitary sewer, stormwater paving, and water infrastructure. On January 28, 21, sanitary sewer bids were received. We received 5 bids. All the bidders have a successful project history with the city and have completed satisfactory work with the city. And the developer is agreeable with all bidders. The best bid is McCullough Excavating in the amount of $169,020. Financials, in accordance with the approved petition, these improvements will be financed through the issuance of temporary notes. The temp note sale for Rustic Creek addition, which includes this improvement, occurred at the last agenda item, page 1. Upon reaching the maturity date, the temp notes will be converted into special assessments and paid by the property. Legal is approved as to form. It is recommended that the City Council award the bid to construct the Phase 1 sanitary sewer improvements to McCullough Excavating in the amount of $169,020. Any questions?
Do we have any history on McCullough?
Any what?
History on that?
McCullough, oh yeah, they've been around a lot. They do a lot of work in the area. They're up there with Milwaukee and all the rest of the big names, Meese and them.
And in fact, to go back in time, they installed the water line down 199th to Maple from Kellogg.
They're good.
Yeah.
Make a motion to award the bid to McCullough.
Motion by Larry.
Second.
Second by
Third.
Brent.
Third?
You're third.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you, Council.
Next 3, resolution authorizing refinance of water and wastewater revolving loans.
I am very disappointed because the council will be considering an action right now to actually lead the way to lowering water and sewer bills. It's my moment to shine and the public all just left.
I thought he was getting ready to talk about
I know, I'm like-
I was like, oh, no.
It's the black mask, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Thought that
scare
was going
everybody.
high order for a second.
You're in mourning because we're
Pull
not.
it down. All right. So we're going to consider a resolution to authorize the refinancing of our outstanding revolving loans on the water utility and our wastewater utility. The council and our utility customers want lower bills. The higher fees on the bills are required currently based on the debt structure of our those improvements. The proposed resolution will lower debt service fees. Well, it will not lower the fees. It will lower the amount of fees we need to collect monthly to make the new debt service payments. So considering a general obligation refunding bond, total to be refunded is $6,096,638.82. And then broken down here what exactly that's refunding. 3.9 of that is for the wastewater treatment facility. That's the big chunk of this of your water and sewer bill. The part you don't like paying is that that debt service. And again, if we don't do this, the way it's currently structured, that debt service payment is going to go up again in 2024 and 2025. We'll probably require an additional rate increase on the debt service side for sewer bills. There's about $1.9 million left on the water supply line that went in 2014. And then per the rule to refund this, we have to actually refund a actual standing GO bond we have in order to make this happen, and we're able to drag the water and sewer revolving loans in with it. And so we'll be refunding the Series 2010 bond, which still has a outstanding balance of $190,000. The total amount to be issued under the new bond is $6,050,000, or $6,050,000. So the gross savings, by gross savings I mean the amount we will pay in actual dollars over the cost of the debt. We're expecting a savings of between $75,661, which would be 1.13%, and $211,135.28, which would be 3.575%, which will depend on the interest rate. True interest cost is estimated to be about 1.5% of the new issuance, which includes all fees and associated issuance costs. Now, essentially what this means is the new rate structure that if this passes, the new rate structure we will consider next meeting or next month will have it will be able to bring down what everybody's paying per month. And so there will be, and because we're going to have a lower annual payment than we do now, we won't have to charge as much in debt service fees. Now, the wastewater treatment facility loan expires in 2029. So, as it is now, that debt only has 8 more years until it's done. This is going to make it so that debt's going to continue out for another 12 years. So it's going to be a total of a 20-year commitment. So we're paying less. We're going to be paying longer. But, like I said, the dollar amount, we're actually going to save money on the actual debt itself. Now, we could complicate that discussion by talking about inflation and, interest costs over time and all that, but essentially what we're saying is we're getting people lower bills. We're going to be paying the debt longer than we would have, but overall, we're still saving money this way. So it's still a good deal, and we recommend doing it, et cetera. And it meets another goal that we've been trying to find, which is to pay lower water and sewer bills. Everything's been approved by legal counsel and our bond counsel. Brett Shogren is here if you have any questions for him. Our financial advisor, Ryan's here. I'm here. Brian's here. But we recommend adopting the resolution to issue the bond.
Did we have a loan where it increases after so many years?
This is going to eliminate that. Yeah, these will be flat payments from now till the end of the issuance. And like I said, the rough math we've done so far looks like about $20 a month lower bills. That may be actually higher because we're probably gonna have more customers when we put the new equation together than we did last time we put that equation together on what the share of the debt service will be. So, but I would ballpark it about $20 a month.
And our current amortization has us paying $500,000 a year till the year 2024, and then in 2024 to 2029 that kicks up to $600,000 per year under the current amortization.
So we'd have to increase payments.
Yeah,
whatever the
but
percentage is.
so essentially what this is going to do is, unless we issue debt for another improvement we haven't done yet to the system, and we're just doing this stuff, these annual payments on the debt are going to be the same every year until it's paid off.
Quick question, how well does that 20-year time horizon line up with the usability of the infrastructure?
Well, so no, it's not going. We're not going to be able to run that plant, considering we're going to continue to grow. So we're going to have to put more into it at some point. But for paying off what what we're not going to do is limit our ability to do that with this issuance. This is actually going to save us money overall. So, you know, and remember too, as we continue to grow, we're going to have more customers. So we're going to continue to be collecting revenue in addition to what we're collecting now. So, and the policy has been for the last, well, the policy has always been that we put money aside into reserves to make these kind of repairs and also to make upgrades to the system as we need them. So, and we're putting more into reserves now than we have since I got here initially, and that's just because we've addressed the rate changes we've had, or we've made rate changes over time to address the fact that, you know, the way this debt was initially set up, you know, we were never going to be able to keep up the growth we had. We'd keep up to make that debt payments all the way through the issuance because the growth we had when we started it never was sustained. Sure. So we were going to have to raise rates at some point anyway. This way, we're going to be able to lower rates, and the debt side of it, we will not have to raise rates again for this debt. What we have in place now is sufficient. If we grow enough, possibly in a couple of years, we could lower the debt service payment, potentially. I'm not promising that, but possibly we could, depending on how much we grow and addressing all the other, known improvements we'll have to make to the plant. Because, I mean, the plant is 12 years old now?
Yes.
So
we'll be locked into this interest rate at 1.9?
1.5.
One half?
I'll let Brett answer that.
First, I want to make a small correction. We're not issuing 20-year bonds. The current loans go out, the longest loan goes out to 2034. We're not going past 2034. So we're actually doing 14-year bonds.
Right. So
not 20-year bonds. So whatever you're thinking, shave 6 years off of it. Okay?
Okay.
And once we sell the bonds, that rate will be locked in. And we're about 30 to 45 days away from that, probably closer to 30. We still have to develop the POS, the preliminary official statement, get the rating, and then market bonds. Once the bonds are marketed, you're locked into that rate. Can't go up. It may be able to come down if for some reason in 8 to 10 years rates are lower than they are today. We may be able to refinance again. Our rates are pretty low already. Okay. I just wanted to
Thank you.
correct that.
No, that needs to happen.
14-year bonds, not 20.
14 years.
Yeah.
Correct.
And this is only on the sewer, right?
No, this is the sewer, this is the water line, the 16-inch transmission line, and then it's also refunding an old GEO bond from 2010. So, and then which we had to do to get the other loans refinanced.
So the public should just praise you. They should be.
Where'd they go?
I do feel bad.
I can hear them.
This is your moment. Where'd they go?
They should build a statue at the
And there's
park.
at least 22 people watching.
But they're gonna wanna know what will the rates go to?
We don't
Well,
know
I
yet.
think I'm guesstimating it's going to be about a $20 a month decline in.
Can I
That
make a
doesn't
motion
happen.
then?
Yes.
To adopt it as proposed by the staff?
Motion by Michael, second by Brett. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
That'll be resolution 2111.
There'll be a statue erected to you at the treatment facility.
I'm not done yet.
Consider library operating funds
Now the one
distribution.
April's been waiting for. Thank you. So every year since 2019, we've the council agreed to subsidize libraries' operating costs with $25,000 funding. This is just a official approval that we can cut that check. And we have an AP going out this week, so the library, I will hand deliver it to her before Friday, hopefully. I think, well, Lori will probably have checks cut on Friday, so I'll hand deliver to her on Friday at the latest.
I guess my concern is what is this going for? Is this operation?
This is operating cost. This has been approved. This was approved initially in 2019. It's been included in the budget every year since then, including this year's budget.
That means electric bill and all that comes out of that?
Yeah, that's usually what we pay as the utilities and.
Yeah, because when we initially did it, we were having them submit invoices, and we were just paying the invoices for them. So it was, electric bill, Cox bill, stuff like that, and it's just easier to cut them a check for it and let them do that, so we're not, tying those things up for, if it goes outside the 30 days before it's due and paying, potentially having to pay penalties and things like that, so. And it saves our administrative staff time and having to, track down invoices and code them and everything else. Currently, it's paid out of the general fund. We have a separate cost center for this, which is library operations. General fund currently has a cash balance of $2.2 million. We got the first chunk of property tax for the year at the end of January, so more than sufficient funds to make the payment to the library board.
Guys have any more questions? All is well?
You said we need a motion to give the money up?
I believe we can just direct staff to, because it's, like I said, it's in the budget and.
Approve this one.
Yeah, you can do it with a voice motion or consensus, whatever you would like.
Pay the library.
We'll do.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Andy, or thank you, April. Sorry.
Honorable Mayor and City Council. It's our annual report, so you'll hear directly from the department heads on goals and accomplishments and some of the strategic performance numbers that we've had this year. This is something that you see each quarter, which is our mission, vision, value statement that was created. The vision was created by the community back with the Center for the PPMC, formerly the Hugo Walsh School of Urban Studies. Then from that, the City Council at the time and staff crafted our joint mission statement, which is to work cooperatively and efficiently to provide a vibrant community that's growing and accessible for our neighbors. We aim to be a destination for a family-oriented active lifestyle. So you can see that dovetails seamlessly with our mission statement of a vibrant community, growing and accessible, the destination for a family-oriented active lifestyle. And then the following values were chosen by the city organization, the council and employees at the time. People first, stewardship, solution-oriented, collaborative, effective, and efficient. Our strategic cycle is based upon the mission vision as well as the strategic plan document and then the land use plan or comprehensive plan that the Planning Commission uses. From that, we go into our departmental metrics and we rate those and report those quarterly. We also base our employee goals and accomplishments and our performance system based upon that, which is what we're going to get into in March, which is the resource allocation and our budget process, and it's just a continual feedback loop for refinement. So it's always going. That's why we say pretty much anything that we do is it's a plan, and it can and is often adjusted. So with that, I will turn it over to City Clerk Terry Lamont to provide an administrative review. Thank you, Terry.
Honorable Mayor and City Council. Going over the administration side of the office, staff prepared over 2,256 pages in briefing materials and agendas for 23 sessions for 2020. The City Council adopted 19 ordinances and 17 resolutions. Staff submitted 414 to the tax roll for compliance mode, which wasn't a lot, but we do what we can. Accounts payable, staff issued 1,331 checks covering 1,782 invoices for $7 million. Whoa, there's too many numbers in there. I believe it was 744,706 financial disbursements that were reviewed and approved for 2020. Utility billing, water customers, we had an increase of 6% last year from 1,812 to 1,937. And I imagine that this year there's going to be quite a bit more increase with all the residential properties that we have going in. Sewer customers went from 1,746 to 1,848. We sent $3,403 to bad debt, and we collected about $4,869 from set-off. And the balance of bad debt actually went down. This is the first time, I think, in a while that the debt has gone down to $29,797.
Didn't charge any fucking late fees. We didn't get anybody.
Municipal court was affected quite a bit with COVID last year. There was several months that we did not have court. But for the 2020 number of cases processed was 591. Number of defendants, 555. There were 264 cases set over. 15 diversion agreements compared to 62 the prior year. And 19 cases dismissed. We had 42 cases paid in full, 80 payment arrangements, 42 failed to appear, 5 suspension letters, and 102 warrants issued, was up from 2019. We had 5 jailed, and jail fees went from $44,591 for 2019 to $981. Human resources, we had 30 full-time employees for 2020, 4 voluntary separations, 4 work claims, 4 accident reports. Vacation, sick, and overtime was all down from the prior year. Although we added COVID hours, which was 1,234 hours. And I've been working on the CARES Act with Sedgwick County to report all of our expenses and our sick hours and COVID leaves. And once I get that report finalized, I'll come back with you with that report. I believe the sick hours were down over COVID just because people are doing their due diligence with distancing and washing their hands and so forth more this year than they probably ever have. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Terry.
Are you going to sit down?
You can sit. I can't sit anymore.
No, he can stand up. We need a motor.
FDR can stand.
That's right.
Stand me up, Thatcher. Stand me up.
You bring that by Public Works, we put a motor on it.
I just want a bell. I don't need a motor. I'm dangerous with just leg power. Okay, this is the 2020 Police Department Year Report. I'm going to try to get through it fairly quick because I know there's quite a bit of slides in here. Our mission statement for the Police Department. Current staffing, we're currently authorized for 14. That's including 1 overhire that like 2 city councils ago, you guys gave the authorization to overhire for Officer Wolf being on naval deployment. We've never gotten to the point where we could get into that overhire, so we've done pretty well with just maintaining with the number we have. We operated most of 2019 below those levels due to resignations, military deployment of Wolf. We had a couple of unexpected separations. 1 new officer completed field training in 2020, and then the second that got hired with him ended up going to work for Public Works, and that was a nice move that helped Brooke out as well. Currently only down one position, and we have one deployed in the Navy. So, I mean, if it looks like he's going to get extended even longer than the 2 years, we'll consider getting that overhire, but I'm not going to, we're this close now, unless we had somebody that was just spectacular. I'm just concerned with filling the one we have. It's not, we'll come and ask you for more people later on, so. The police fleet, as you all know, that every department officer is assigned a take-home vehicle once they're on off probationary status or as deemed necessary. This practice reduces wear and tear on the cars and assigns accountability to the individual officers, which is we've seen a big improvement in how well the vehicles have been taken care of since we've implemented that program. Currently, we have a fleet of 13 marked cars and unmarked combination marked and unmarked vehicles. 2 of the outgoing Tahoes were reconfigured in 2020, with one going to Public Works. Once it was repainted and re-outfitted for a Public Works vehicle. And a second one is now a dedicated animal control vehicle, which before we had officers hauling stray pets in the back of police cars, and it wasn't ideal. I mean, we actually probably, it could have caused problems for us later. So we actually had a nice canine kennel, split kennel, that was donated from another agency that happened to fit the year Tahoe we had. So now we actually have a vehicle that we can transport pets in, or lost animals, more humanely and in the way they should be transported. Here's our current fleet, kind of gives you the mileage on the vehicles. You'll notice that we're not seeing the 100,000 plus miles on the cars anymore. We're doing a good job of keeping the miles down, and then with only one officer driving them, they're not getting hot seated 24/7 and racking up the miles. So the 2 bottom ones were the 2 2020 Explorers. There's a picture one there you see on the right with the new graphics. Those are both now completed, and then next meeting we'll be talking to you about the 2021 allocations, budget approval allocations. We did implement purchase the Ford Explorers this time. This is the first year that we've had those. The officers like them, a lot more economical to operate and maintain, and I think our resale on them is going to be significantly more than what we've gotten in the past. Some of the goals from 2020. I'm sorry, that should say the 2019 report. We did accomplish the development of in-house training. We've continued to invest in in-house instructors and subject matter experts rather than always sending people out. So we did continue to build on that. Our policing capabilities using technology and intelligence-based practices. We got the license plate reader. We've continued to add more of the equipment that's made for our line of work. We are still working on a 5-year strategic plan. A lot of that kind of got derailed with personnel issues and COVID, and that's just kind of the catch-all for everything right now, but it is still a work in progress. We still address it in staff meetings. And continuing to expand our community outreach and education programs. Again, another thing that was really hampered by not being able to get out to the schools, do the public events that we were really kind of getting into a rhythm of Coffee with Cops and some of the other things that we were doing. It was really hampered by a lot of that stuff this year. As you can see, all of our crime stats did, pretty well. We had a decrease in a lot of crimes, a little bit of an uptick, a big uptick in financial fraud crimes. And honestly, I attribute a lot of that to the fact that people are home and they're just getting ripped off, left and right between shopping online and things like that. We did see a pretty good uptick in that. Outside agency assists, again, that's us going to help, whether it's the Sheriff's Department or other agencies. Prior to last year, we weren't even pulling case numbers on that. I want them pulling case numbers on it so we can actually see how often they're going out to assist, and you can see that's gone up a little bit. Drug and warrant arrests went down as well. 2020 cases, down 4.3%. A lot of this will go kind of hand in hand with what Terry reported on the court stats. An average of 2.37 calls a day, that's down 5%. And our 2019 average was 2.49. There's your breakdown of cases by quarter. We remain pretty steady throughout the year. Fourth quarter slows down, obviously, because of the winter months and things like that. Traffic crashes, I thought it was kind of interesting that our traffic tickets and warnings went down about 50%, our parking violations and motorist assists were exactly the same numbers they were in 2019. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. So that was kind of unusual. The majority of our crashes, obviously, you can see occur right there on 54, 199th, 183rd, anywhere in between. And that continues to be a little bit of the focus of our attention. Crime reporting and stats always show that your traffic crashes and crime go hand in hand. It's a weird anomaly, but there's actually studies and dedicated programs that show that continued enforcement in your high crash locations goes hand in hand with your crime reduction in those same locations. So we do focus a lot on 54, but we aren't neglecting the other areas either. Training, again, key to developing professional organizations, adequately training people and equipping them with the tools they need to make good on-scene decisions, and especially with all the challenges that we've seen just even in the last year in law enforcement. We are committed to having a well-trained officers in the investment required to achieve that level of proficiency. Some highlights, they're in the written report that you got, but I'll just buzz through them real quick. 2020, obviously, big challenge, probably one of the most challenging years I've seen in 30 years of law enforcement, not just with COVID, but just all the other accompanying issues that went on last year. That being said, we still have an incredible group of people here that are dedicated, and they love this community, and they help each other. Even when we were at a very low point earlier this year with being down 2 or 3 people, those that were here, we got to a point where it was literally one person on each shift, and Captain Beagley and I kind of filling in the holes on shifts because of people being down with COVID and everything else. We did not rely, the sheriff's office, volunteered to help us out staffing on shifts, and our folks took it upon themselves to handle it. They wanted to handle it. So I was very proud of how they pulled through this past year. I think a lot of the things like the wellness initiatives that we did, the mental health checkups, things like that, the chaplain program, it gave them some extra tools to lean on when people were stressed out more than they normally would be. Even with that being said, we still were able to help out a little bit. There's a picture of Officer Roney. They asked, the school district asked if he'd help make a public service video for the students that they were working on, so he got his acting debut with that video that they put together. We're crossing our fingers. We're hoping 2021 is going to clear up and let us get out and do what our folks are really good at doing, and that's meeting the public, handling business, being seen, and they want that. I mean, all of us want it. I think everybody's tired of Zoom meetings and distancing and not seeing the people that they're accustomed to seeing. So with that, I guess there's even more. I must have gotten some slides out of order, but I'll let you look through those. Most of that's just stuff that's all stuff that's in the report. Probably the biggest thing, that bottom one, you will see that we did change you'll see the look of the police cars is going to be different. We've opted to go with just a slick black with a graphics package. The cost of these cars continues to go through the roof. Every year it gets more and more. So one thing that we came up with is, avoiding that cost of having them painted black and white, which is pretty costly. It also cuts down on how much we get back from them when we do sell them at auction. So we kind of put it out there for some opinions within the department, and everybody liked the graphics package we came up with. I think it looks sharp, and so it'll save us a little bit of money in the long run.
Fred,
Yes, sir.
How much more is it to do the black and white?
Probably close to a couple $1,000s.
The car?
Mm-hmm. And then, we tried doing a wrap one year on a couple of the vehicles where it's the wraps that you see advertising. It did not hold up well. I mean, it ends up with dings and everything else in it. It's not worth what we're paying to have a black and white when we still have a very visible and sharp looking car. It's just, I'm trying to operate within that amount and still keep at least a couple of cars coming in. They just keep going up. There's not much else I can do about it.
Yeah, well, I just have one opinion on that. I like the black and white just because the cars stand out. They're recognizable from the public. I want people to recognize our vehicles. I don't want us to look like we're hiding in the bushes or anything.
We're not. If you look at that, it's a very bright white pattern. They're also, when light hits, headlights hit them or whatever, they do pop. I mean, they've got like a glowing quality to them or whatever. So we're not just putting, junk graphics on it. We actually found a company right down here on Pawnee that's a lot more local and using a lot more high quality materials, not made in China stuff. I mean, it's actually really good quality material that's not fading and things like that. I think once you see them, up close in person, they're not hiding in by any means. I mean, they're very visible.
With the numbers down like they are we doing a catch and release or what?
No, are you talking about with the jail numbers? A lot of the jail numbers is simply because
That's a COVID release.
Yeah, they really were limiting what we could take into the jail. So a lot of the things we were doing, I hate to call it catch and release, but some things we were field citing and giving them a court date here in city court. If somebody had to go to jail, we certainly did that, but we were really trying to kind of eliminate our exposures from transporting people as well as the exposures at the jail. So, all in all, our self-initiated went down a lot this year just for those reasons and the staffing issues. But I think you're going to see that start to creep up pretty soon.
So you're having a competition with Matt to see who can lower their...
No.
I made my thoughts clear, as I do always, that.
Honestly, I'm very happy with the stats and the crime stats that we've seen. I mean, even with all that went on, our folks were still out there doing good police work and making good cases. I don't want to say it's the new norm, but it's something we had to deal with in 2020.
Well, I think we should have a contest between the departments, and whoever saves us the most money is the grand marshal in the fall festival.
Well,
I think Matt just did it. So, yeah.
Technically, I'm always one to say.
Gonna get you a float, you can throw beads.
And then finally, our 2021 goals. We are going to be looking at possibly going on the RMS system with the county. There will be more information coming on that later, but with the computer-aided dispatch system, the county going to a different RMS system, the county commissions agreed to pick up the cost for the smaller agencies if we do it at that time. So that may be something you'll see coming up here in a little bit. We're going to continue to work on the 5-year plan. I'd like to fill at least the one remaining open position. Community outreach stuff getting restarted once COVID restrictions are lifted. More technology and intelligence-based practicing, and then working with Matt and Brian and other staff to, explore the needs for expansion of the PD as the city continues to grow. But those are kind of offline discussions. And that's all I have. If you have any other questions or.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
What's that?
That'll stand out.
What'd you just say?
Mary
I
Kay.
think you just need to find some of those pink Mary Kay cars in the auction.
I think that's a brilliant idea, and the next police chief ought to look into that.
Definitely wouldn't be able to miss them. Honorable Mayor, City Council. Here's our library year-end report. Obviously, our circulation numbers were down a little bit, normal circulation, which isn't surprising since we were closed for 6 weeks, and then a lot of people were staying out of the building and staying home and stuff, so they were down. Our new patrons were down as well, though we've been getting a lot of people coming over from West Wichita now because Wichita's closed basically, so they want to be able to go into a library, so they come over and see us. Processed a few less materials, but our programming, we offer more programs. Some of them, a lot of them obviously were virtual because we had to adapt to our environment, and so we did a lot of virtual things. Our library attendance includes virtual, so it was about the same as last year, a little less, but not much. Obviously, our computer Wi-Fi usage was down because we were not in the building and didn't have as many. We still don't have as many coming in for computers right now. So, interlibrary loan, however, we did borrow more, and we did send out a lot more. So that's where a lot of our time is spent, is pulling holds and sending them out to Derby, Andover, Park City, all of our can-share libraries. This is our year-end graphic, and it shows where Sunflower e-Library, we started last year. We were up 300% in circulation, obviously, with those people staying home. They were doing reading a lot of ebooks. We did 197 programs virtually or in person. Our Facebook increased our followers by 208, which was 20%, and our video programs were viewed 13,944 times. So, and like I said, we had the increase with our interlibrary loan of 640%, so, of us sending things out. So that's pretty impressive even for a year like 2020. But we did get our story walk up in Lanier Park and onto the trails, so we'll be changing that out as soon as the weather cooperates. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll be putting a new story up. And we have started doing, we used to do wine and color, so to take that away, we're now doing virtual paint events. So our first one was painting a reindeer, so you can kind of see everybody that was on Zoom with us, showing you what theirs looked like when they were done. So we just did another one last Friday and went over really well. We had another big group that did it. We've been limiting it to 20, and it usually sells out pretty fast. So
within like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
I missed it.
Literally, it goes really quickly because it gets too confusing when you have too many people on Zoom at one time. So we will be having another adult event May, June-ish. So we've been trying to get the teens to do some too. So we're going to do another one of those in March over spring break. So to give them something to do. But we've actually got back in to doing some of our outreach. We're going back out to Devastates. They're going to start their book club back up. We've actually, Carrie's been going out to, she's got 3 preschool classes she's visiting for story times. That started back up in November when we did Kansas Reads to Preschoolers, and they wanted us to go ahead and start coming all the time. We haven't obviously got to get back into the schools yet because they're still limiting all of that. So hopefully in the fall we'll at least get to be doing preschools again like we did last year. We partnered with the Chamber and the city for Christmas on Main Street and the Santa Story Times. I think everybody really enjoyed them. So Carrie even, I think, had fun with it most of the time. So yeah, that was a good thing. And we started a new book club. And then I told you about our paint nights. And there's Christmas on Main Street, Carrie and Santa. And the kids really enjoyed it. We sent out over 100 of those.
Does Santa have his glasses on in that picture?
I don't know. Santa needed to have, I don't know. I think he needs contacts.
I got Santa without glasses, but he still did a great job.
Yeah. So, but we sent out over 100 of those gingerbread kits, and they were just like 4 little pieces of graham cracker and some frosting. Literally, it was like, Black Friday at the library. So it was funny. We actually had to put out what was in them so people could just go do it because we were like, we're not making it more. So, but we had a good time with it. So, and the kids really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of the adults even enjoyed it. So, but we've got a lot of things coming, so we're going to keep trying to grow our programs and get out as much as we can and help where we need to be. And so we are down a staff. We hope to hire, we've tried once, it didn't work out very well, but we want a technology specialist to come in so we have somebody on site part of the time who can deal with all of our computers, keep everything updated, and also do technology classes. So hopefully that'll work out.
Have you, just a thought on that?
We actually are going to talk to probably the schools too, but we just haven't done that yet.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I don't know what classes they teach, but if, like, the teachers there would have a recommendation of a high school student who could do, like, the I always call it work release.
Yes,
That's not what it is.
I know what you're talking about.
Where they get credit to
Right.
work, or, like, my kid goes 2 classes a day. He doesn't
Right.
even go in the afternoon.
Right.
So that might give you some options there.
So we'll probably try to do something like that and see about, because I know we were going to contact Goddard Academy too and see about some stuff because we're needing some video stuff too. So we'll be looking into that because we need somebody who can come do that stuff. And kids are always really good at that stuff, much better than adults. But anyway, we got summer reading coming up before long. We're already working on that. So that's it. Any questions?
Nope. Thank you, Ed.
And my counter looks really nice, Brent.
Good.
Honorable Mayor and Council, Public Works 2020 year-end report. Staffing, we are fully staffed with 8 filled positions. As the chiefs mentioned, he had a police officer that came over and began working with us about 6 months ago. He's been a great addition to our team, fits in really well. Employee certifications is something that we take highly at Public Works, and we're going to do a lot more work to make sure a lot more of that happens. Currently, we're still sitting at 2 wastewater class 1 or higher, 2 water class 1 or higher, couple class A CDLs. We did increase our AFOs, our facility operators, by 2 this year, and then we've got someone else ready to take this test, but COVID's been delaying that, so we'll have another pesticide and chemical individual next year, or later this year. As I stated, our certification, one of our major goals this year is to increase the number of certifications in Public Works, in particular water and wastewater certifications. We can never have enough of those. Fleet, we have 9 trucks right now. We only have 3 of the old red ones left. They're long in the tooth, but they have their job, their place in our fleet for now. We've got the F-350, the Chevy Tahoe that police gave to us, and we've got the 2018 Ram 350, and then Chevy 3500, and then the 2 2020 Dodge Rams that council approved. We got this year, and then the 2012 bucket truck. We sold the 2006 F-150. Interesting thing about that pickup had a bad transmission. We got 4 times as much money out of the lawnmower as we did that pickup, which was kind of interesting. And we were that close to being able to sell it again. The gentleman didn't pick it up within his time frame, and so the vendor said he had 36 hours to pick it up, or else he forfeits his money and we could sell it again. We were kind of hoping to sell it every 6 months, but it didn't pan out. One of our fleet goals for 21 is to address the issue we have with our 1997 International dump truck. It's got a dead cylinder in the engine. We parked it for now. We haven't decided whether we want to put a new engine in that, whether we want to seek out a different truck. If we do, it won't likely be a large 2-axle truck like that one. That's a little heavy for what we need and gets a little expensive. We have what I call the city's Lamborghini, the 2018 Ravos Street Sweeper. Of course, our 2 dump trucks, our 92 Ford L8000 it's an older truck, but it runs and works well, and the 97 I mentioned earlier. We have the 2 New Holland backhoes. They're getting a little long in the tooth. They're still operational. We continue to do maintenance and repairs on those as needed. We have our John Deere that we mow with, and then we have our 2 new mowers and a skid steer that's also getting a little long in the tooth. Some of our statistics this year, quite a bit of pothole repair, and as always, we continue to get out and sweep the streets, try to keep them clean. We installed quite a fewer signs this year than in the past because we're not putting all those signs up on, no parking signs on Kellogg and 215. They've already been put up. That is incorrect because we planted 25 trees last quarter. In conjunction with the Lions Club and the Boy Scouts. We planted them in the community garden area, Linear Park, Means Park. Our service shutoffs have been down some because of COVID-19. Our rereads, we're working on breaking those down. We did finally got our large order of meters that we had council approved a few months ago. It took them a while to get them. And it made me a little scared with all of our development, and so we're putting a few of those in the ground at a time until we know we can order more meters, because the last thing we want are new homes with no meters. We can manually read meters before we can manually meter water. And so that slowed us down a little bit. when the factory ramps back up after COVID, I think it'll be easier to get those meters. Replaced 3 valves. One was the valve that council approved on 1/19 where we cut it in to the live line. We continue to exercise valves as we need to. Locates have gone way up. That is in conjunction with the new construction. We are at Cloverleaf Farms every day of the week. Every day we're locating something because they are building. We're glad to see that. We're excited for all those duplexes to open, and we'll put 44 meters in the ground. That's 44 new customers. That's what I'm talking about there, is the new customers. Our well depths are staying pretty steady at about 30, just under 35 feet. And our inflow, that is about steady from last year, but that's something we're watching closely, and I'll get to more of that when I get to our goals. And that would be our daily inflow on our wastewater treatment plant, by the way. Some of our highlights and achievements, this is something I always like to highlight, is that we take those bi-monthly samples in, and KDHE, an independent lab, checks them out, they send the results to KDHE. We have met all state requirements on all of those. We drained the east basins of the wastewater treatment plant and cleaned them. That's when I came to council, and the council approved repair of the 3 mixers. Those mixers have been repaired and reinserted into the plant. Right now, something we're watching now, and this goes back to questions that Matt was asked with the rates and has been talked about before, is what can the plant handle? And so something that we have started doing is we have went all the way back as far as we have records, and we've entered them in, and we're watching trends. And we're watching our influent trend up, and we're trying to correlate that with rooftops. And our idea behind that is to project our future needs so it doesn't sneak up on us. So we can expand as needed, not wake up one day and think, oh boy, we got a lot of work to do. We need to spread it out. It's easier to spend the money that way, and it's easier to stay on top of things that way. Under our water, one of our achievements this year, and this really goes water, wastewater, and sanitary sewer. We're moving completely away from paper maps as much as we can. We've purchased tablets. We purchased a GPS geode that you hook a tablet to, and you put it right on top, and it takes a GPS reading right to where everything is. So we've been working really hard to go out. We're hitting every water meter, every valve, every hydrant, every single thing we have out there, water, sewer, stormwater, everything we can, and we're putting those into electronic maps. Micah's helping us a lot on that, and we're putting the water lines in, everything. And the nice thing about that, we can put depths, we can put what type of pipe it is. You know, it's with older utilities, sometimes you will get a water leak, and you'll say, your map will say, well, that's an 8-inch pipe. And when that map was made 20-something years ago, somebody put 8 there. Or when the map was remade, it turned to 8. We get down there, it might be 6-inch pipe. That doesn't happen very often, but once in a while. And so that's one of the nice things about this, is knowing the depth, knowing the size of the pipe. If we have a leak, we can say, okay, that's 8 foot deep. We know we need this equipment there. We know we need this crew size of the pipe. Okay, we know we need these parts to repair it. Makes the job go a lot quicker, a lot more efficiently, and it makes our locates much more accurate when we've got these maps. It's been working out well so far this year. I hope to purchase 2 more tablets, so we'll have 1 in all 4 of the trucks that are on the road. We have a little stand we put them on, and they've got Wi-Fi and everything. So we're doing a lot of stuff, email, a lot less word of mouth and calling, and a lot more electronic to get the stuff out there. It's even going to the point where it's worked well with COVID, because on needs that the utility office has, Sarah can email our maintenance email. It goes straight to the tablets. The on-call guy gets it, boom, pops up in his face. He can take care of it. So that's gone a long way. And then we don't have to run back towards City Hall. Saves time, exposure with the COVID stuff, all that stuff. We installed a valve at well 7 and 8. That's the valve on 119th that I mentioned earlier. We had well 4 inspected, pulled, and the column and motor were refurbished. And then we have been updating the old worn out meters with the new Camstrip meters. A little bit at a time as we get more meters in so we don't run out, as I stated before. Parks, we implemented the mineral control on the splash pad. We partnered, as I mentioned before, with the trees. We partnered with the Lions Club and Boy Scouts and planted 25 new trees. And then in November, Thatcher helped out in coordinating it and getting the dumpsters, but we couldn't do a great old school citywide cleanup like we did, but we did what we could. We had dumpsters, the staff crew was there, people were able to bring out all their junk and we could get rid of it for them. And that's always well received. And I think, based on conversation with Thatcher, we may attempt to do that this spring.
Maybe April again.
Okay.
We usually do it.
Okay, that will work for us. Something else that was well received was we rehabbed 2nd Street. The North Frontage Road realignment project, if you haven't been down that new North Frontage Road, they did a great job over there. And then something else that we brought to council and was approved was the upgraded salt brine production and storage operation. That has made this winter so much easier than last, because in the past, we were generally making brine as we were using it. So on a cold day, you've got a couple people out there making brine while everybody else is spraying and whatnot. Now, and you can't see it, this is an older picture, well, I guess it's a different picture. Now, on the north side of the plant, we have a 10,000 gallon tank. And on a nice day, we fill it up. When it's warm, when it doesn't matter if you get wet, and it's not a lot of stress, we fill it up. And we can spray the town a good 2 times, if not more, with that 10,000 gallon tank.
Really?
So that's made our life easy, and if a storm sneaks up on us, hey, it's real quick and easy. Load the tanks and trucks, get spray bars on, let's go out, let's put the brine on the ground. So that's been really nice. And then, of course, we continue street sweeping. 2021 goals is a sidewalk rehabilitation program, and what we're doing there is putting together a set of guidelines, and we're going to break the town down into just sections, and a set of guidelines as to whether we replace this section of sidewalk or not. If it's a trip hazard, if it's dangerous, it's water, it's sunken and water gets in it and you slip, you get in the moss and it gets slippery. Anything that's dangerous, those are going to become obviously to the top of the list. And we put together the guidelines so if we fix a sidewalk at one place, people can't say, well, why did you fix theirs and not ours? You know, it's basically, well, these are the guidelines we followed and here's how we're doing it and why we're doing it. As I mentioned before, we're finalizing, and this is always an ongoing process, of course, as we get new infrastructure, but we're finalizing our current infrastructure and maps in the GPS mapping. And as always, like everyone, we're always working to develop and refine our employee knowledge and work efficiency through training, certifications, automation, things like that. Any questions?
Did we have any of that trash pickup down on South 23rd where that creek goes through, where that guy's been busting their chops about the trash and that grass?
On 3rd Street, I haven't heard anything about it. We can go check it out, but I have not heard. Is it a social media thing?
Well, he'd come in here twice or so, I forget what his name is. The landowner.
Yeah, we have not, first of all, we do it when it's needed and when we know that there's an issue, but I believe that the property as well may have changed hands.
Because I haven't heard that, gentleman.
Yeah.
Yeah, we, as needed, we always pick up trash, and with the way the wind was blowing recently, there's been a lot of trash. We pick it up.
Essentially, there was an agreement with the city, and 30 to 35 years later, he showed up and said he wanted it enforced when the city had never undertaken this agreement.
Okay, well, I wasn't aware of that, but anytime we see trash, we pick it up. And as I was just saying, we pick it up, and the wind's been blowing lately, and it seems like we don't pick it up, so we pick it up more. But the craziest thing lately, we've been finding little Fireball bottles, empties, all over this town, everywhere. Found one on Main Street the other day. We find them on 183rd. We find them on 23rd. We find them. You got me. I don't know. Somebody's enjoying it though.
Sorry.
So that's the craziest thing, and you think maybe they just buy a big bottle. But anyway, that's all I have. Thanks a lot, Mayor and Council.
Hey, Brooke, I
Yes,
guess
sir.
I don't know if right now is a good time to bring it up, but 2 things. It's 3rd Street. I've been getting different complaints.
Yes.
What's the status?
That 3rd Street, I drove down it, And unfortunately, that's kind of indicative of the streets in that section of Old Town. It doesn't have any major utility cuts that are sinking or any big potholes or anything. It's just, over the years, there's been different patches done and different things done, and you drive down it, and it's definitely not like driving down the new Maple that's just overlaid, but it's not like driving down the old Second Street. So it's one of those things where it's not falling apart, it's not smooth, it's a very expensive fix because it would require a mill down to base and check the base out, and then if you're doing that, you must look at curbs, and then you got, 2 overlays of asphalt. So it is a tough situation because it's a very expensive thing to do, and honestly, if I were going to choose streets in Old Town, that would not be on the top of the list to rehab.
And then the incident yesterday, I don't know if.
Yes.
Just so we can talk about it publicly.
Absolutely.
I guess give our spiel on Santa Fe and Maine.
Yes.
And some of the flooding over there.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's something that's been on my radar for a while, and the city planner and I have actually, we were actually over there a couple weeks ago, and we looked at it, and we
Yeah, go to my,
Did I jump ahead?
no, well, there, Brooke.
okay, and we knew there were, oh, you did get that picture, thank you, Brian, thank you, I just forwarded that to the mayor. So we knew there were drainage issues there. There were some questions up in the air as to what direction that culvert went, and then there were some questions as to what the cows were going to do to their property, and we were kind of standing by to watch what they were doing. And then we were going to come in right at the end after they got done, and then we were going to fix that. Well, with this issue this weekend, there's no time to wait. So we jumped on board this morning, and we found those big trees. We're glad they cut them down, because they go straight to water, and what goes in culverts, water, and there were very large tree roots in there, so that's one thing. We had those obstructions, and then of course when you get the roots, you get dirt, you get other debris. But the interesting thing was, we all thought that angled off to the southeast. Well, it actually goes directly south across the road, and over the years, the flume on the end was metal. It had been pushed down and squished, and people just started putting patch over it. Why, I don't know. So we asphalted in our own outlet. So we fixed the problem to where it flows at the moment. We were going to replace the whole culvert, but it is a concrete culvert. We talked to Mayor Specialties. They're going to come out tomorrow, and they're going to clean that whole culvert out.
Okay.
We're going to repair flumes on both ends and do some stuff on the south side of Santa Fe Street there to alleviate some of that pooling on the shoulder. And then we'll make those flumes look nice, put some riprap around them, put grates over them, keep debris out. And then I talked to Mr. Kyle today, and just real briefly, but he knew this. He's got some concrete being poured, but when he gets done with that, it's his responsibility, of course, to bring dirt in and grade and make sure his stuff flows so it gets into where our easement is, into the drain.
It was bad timing. Last week, they removed all those trees on the south side, north side of Santa Fe, south side of their property. They also did some site prep work that flattened the area to allow easier access to the structures behind. And then, as Brooke said, the timing, as well as the seasonability of our stormwater servicing in anticipation of the spring rains, it was planned and in the queue. It just, everything happened at once, and then we find that there's a fiber line going through the middle of this.
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that
Yep, can I see that, Thatcher?
There's an issue there as well.
Yeah, this is what we found. See this here? That is an Idea Tech fiber line that they just went ahead and bored right through that culvert.
Wow.
I wish a culvert would have been concrete. They'd have hit it and they would have known. But no, they bored it right through and laid it down. We joked around about cutting it today, but we decided not to. I mean, it's our easement. I think we could, but we decided not to.
Isn't that going to cause stuff to clog up? Won't that clog?
Yeah, that doesn't help anything. We're going to contact them, and they're going to have to remove it.
Okay.
They'll likely dig down and just run it over the top. Not a huge repair on their part, but it's a big obstruction for us. I mean, you can see the
like a
debris that
dam.
just sits right below it.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for getting on that quickly. I mean, I know I bugged both of you guys last night probably.
And rightfully so.
But, but thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Honorable Mayor and City Council. This is for city planning and zoning and code enforcement in its entirety for the year 2020 and then Q4 as well. But we had an exponentially great year in terms of building. Obviously, everyone has mentioned that already, but we've had 60 new single-family detached housing, which is 58% over last year. We had 23 new multifamily units, which is 92% over last year. Over last year. And all in all, fourth quarter of 2020, the city issued 17 single-family just in the fourth quarter detached permits, which is higher from last year's fourth quarter by 31%. We did issue those 23 multifamily building permits. That's going to be the 22 over in Cloverleaf and 1-3 unit over off of 227 North Cedar. Total permit fees for 2020 were $392,445, an increase of $95,000 over 2019. Total project value for 2020 was $29,781,318. Nuisance abatement, mowing for 2020 Q4 was only 1, but overall is about 18. Junk motor vehicles, we're starting to see still more of those coming out. We had 8 for the year total, 1 nuisance, 12 environmental, and 21 other for a total of 60. The heat map over here on the right shows the general location for most of our abatement issues. The development activity in a residential scale is going to be Arbor Creek had 31 lots out of 59 of phase 1. There are 245 total in this development. That leaves 88% available for sale. Cloverleaf has 47 lots sold in phase 1 for the development. There are 133 lots in this development, and that leaves 69% available for sale. Elk Ridge has sold 63 lots out of 77. There are only 14 lots remaining in Elk Ridge. That leaves 18% for sale. Rusty Creek has submitted a letters of credit for this development and will allow the city to begin the process for bidding for infrastructure. The lots total is 106. They're all going to be single-family detached, no multifamily in Rusty Creek. Commercial, in 2020, the city had 11 commercial building permits pulled, an increase of 38% over 2019. The Goddard Genesis is moving forward, and the lot split was approved by the Planning Commission for the Hampton Inn. This will allow the bank to proceed on the financing of the hotel. The Hampton is valued at $6.2 million. Permit is valued at $19,000. The city added $2,058,000 in total commercial project valuation in 2020 and collected $19,779 in permit fees. We met for quarter 4 of 2020 in October, November, and December. The Planning Commission has continued to agree that we were to meet regardless if there's anything on the agenda, but there's been consistently things on the agenda. Brahms sign variance, request to increase the allowable square footage and the maximum sign height was in October. Baptist church rezoning was in November. The lot split for the Hampton and allowable square footage for detached garages was in December. That's it for me. Do you guys have any questions for that?
Man, you just.
What did you just say?
It's 2021, we gotta go. We got more building permits.
Our new favorite child.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You've been replaced.
This is just our fund balance report for year 2020. Beginning fund balance is on the left. Receipts, expenses, and ending fund balance is on the right. We ended the year with higher fund balances in all 4 of the major operating funds. We were expecting the goal for 2020 was to spend down some of our excess fund balance in the street fund, particularly because we've got more fund balance there than we have budget. So, but we only did about a quarter of our expenses for the street maintenance program because all they did last year was Second Street?
Second Street, yes.
Second Street. So anyway, that, and we ended up, you'll see later, we transferred that to capital improvements. We'll be able to do additional street projects or have more funding for street maintenance this year. It's just our ending bank balances for all of our funds and investments. We had very little return on anything this year. Interest rates just died when COVID started, so and they're still there, and they're probably not coming back up anytime soon. Just general fund overview, revenue on top, expenditures at the bottom. Comparing this year to the last 3, you see overall revenue was almost 109% of what we budgeted. We had very high receipts for our city sales tax, not the actual sales tax portion, the point of sale portion, that was about what it usually is. But our online sales tax, that was up considerably, well more than what we budgeted. And it's always gone above budget, but this year it was, I think we budgeted like $95,000. It was over $220,000 that was just mostly internet sales. So, expenditure-wise, we only hit 77% of budget expenditures. But again, that includes our capital outlay line item, which is, we used to get to our budget amount. And also we had, we did have lower costs, and we actually we canceled part of the transfers during the budget process in 2021 budget. So anyway, still sufficient fund balance in general fund. You can see there, this is a 3-year history of revenue in blue, expenditure in red, and then the black line is fund balance. This is just a breakdown of tax revenue revenue by type, and I've broken out tax revenue so I can show you what I said. So you see here, which one is the pointer? There. So right here it says compensating use tax city. That's the internet sales portion of the sales tax. So the revenue was $235,000. I budgeted $122,000, which is well higher than what it ended up being. Much higher than we expected. Those revenues just blew up this year. I'm not sure what the county portion did, but that's not exactly apples to apples. So it was still higher than budget. But and we will see. It was essentially it was a third of our total city sales tax revenue was sales outside the city, or internet sales, etc. So, and we'll continue to see that going forward, just people shop online more often. But it was particularly high this year for obvious reasons. Sorry about the black, that's not showing up very well. But anyway, the blue, property tax revenue, the red is sales tax, which is 46.29%. So, pardon me, with the addition of our city sales tax and its growth, before the governing body approved to go to referendum on the city sales tax, I always said, I hope that when we pass this, we'll see a more even distribution of how we fund our general operations between sales tax and property tax. And it used to be much more property tax than sales tax is what funded, and now, sales tax has gone beyond even our property tax. So that's good and bad. Good that we have more revenue sources and higher revenue sources to use, but bad in that an economic downcline that hits retail sales would take away that revenue. Property tax is a little bit safer because it tends to it tends to kind of lag and not respond so quickly to economic downturns. But again, with all the doom and gloom that we were expecting from COVID and Goddard has not seen anything yet. And I'm not saying that's not going to show up, but so far we've escaped it. Again, property tax history year to year, back to 2016. This is a general fund property tax, $1.26 million in 2020. And that's all, we haven't changed our mill levy, so that's all valuation growth. Sales and use tax history, so county portion is blue, steady growth there, not very much year to year. It's about 2 to 3%. But again, we saw a lot of growth in our city sales tax last year, and that was due to and that's the green, and that's because of the additional online sales tax we collected primarily. So we'll do water fund. Again, water fund did really good. We actually collected more in revenue in water than we had budgeted for charges for service, which is nice because typically we don't hit that. We don't hit our revenue projections there, but we did this year, which means that our customer base is expanding. On the expenditure side, we came in at about 85% of budget. We had we made our full payments to, in transfers to the reserve funds, included, which part of which is a debt service payment for the water supply line, or the water tower, water storage tank, excuse me. But yeah, everything else pretty much on pace with what we usually spend. You see, this is the first time in a while that we've actually ended the year with a higher fund balance in the water fund than we had the prior year, which is a good thing, because I always worry when we're not hitting our revenue projections, and we're finally starting to hit those because of our growth. Sewer fund, more than sufficient revenue. We came in again, same as water, about 86% of our budget. We had slightly lower, or we'll have lower debt service payments going forward because the lagoons are gone. Again, we'll also have lower because we are going to change the debt service fees next week, because we're going to have with the new bond, we're going to have lower debt service obligations for this fund. And again, still going in the right direction, fund balance there, and again, but that of course will taper off when we change those debt service rates. So, street fund, like I said, so I said earlier about we transferring out the additional money that we didn't use for the street maintenance program. So you see here, this transfer right here, 160,000. That's essentially the 22,000 we had transferred. We had budgeted, which is the transfer to the equipment reserve fund. We made that, but the other 140 is what was left over from what we put aside for the street maintenance program that we didn't actually use. And I transferred that to, which we talked about it at budget time. I transferred that to the capital improvement fund. So we didn't lose that budget authority into this year. So we have that additional money to where we can actually use it because it's in capital funds. And we had sufficient budget authority to transfer that as well. So let's put a little money aside so we can do, if we do additional street programs this year, then to make up for what we didn't do last year, we have the money there to do that. It's just in capital and not in an operating fund. And again, we got more black fund balance than we have budget actually for the street fund. So I'm going to continue to try to spend down some of that, transferring out to the capital improvement fund, so we have street money in a place where we can use it going forward for our additional to meet our needs for maintaining and improving our road system. And that's all I have. Financials, unless you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Honorable Mayor and Council, showing progress here on the STAR bond, where you can see from our last meeting the still superstructure for the child care center and the health club, and now there's a noticeable rooftop structure complete for the child care center, and it's currently underway there for the health club. Just a different view looking from the north to the south with the comparison with the health club and the curvature of the wing looking back to the south, with the parcel on the right being the competitive swimming venue, with the elevated portion being the water park, or the aquatics, the water park for the hotel. Arbor Creek, just showing additional progress for the homes from the last meeting, from 2 weeks ago to now, from December 21st to February 1st. The lift station is complete. There's a 183rd Street, and we'll have this fenced in, and it'll be nice and secure. Arbor Creek, again, it continues. We have, I'll just kind of fly through this as Micah discussed this progress earlier. Here's Cloverleaf's progress. You can see from January, when we still had snow on the ground, versus today. There's There's more structures there on the cul-de-sac. Again, just reiterating what Micah had shared in his report. Elk Ridge, just looking back to the northernmost cul-de-sac there, and then looking back toward the other two phases from the beginning of the final phase here, looking back to the east. Rustic Creek, nothing really new to report at this point, as you just awarded the sanitary sewer bid, and we've authorized those improvements and are proceeding with the temp note issuance. You can see the Brahms site development from January 18th, and then obviously the standing waters reflective of the rains that we've had this past weekend. Nothing new to report on the ARC-HUD at this time. We're still planning on a June advertisement with a July bid award. We have a conference call with the design architects tomorrow afternoon. Potential intersection project, as you know, when the frontage road was constructed, there was originally planned to be an entire coordinated intersection geometric and frontage road realignment. But in order to help alleviate stacking and promote development, the two projects were pulled out. And so we're working on submittal for a new 183rd Street geometric improvement that will accommodate increased traffic ways on 183rd Street, as well as being coordinated with the ARC-HUD. So essentially, the plan is for all of these signals to be intelligent, essentially called intelligent traffic control systems, and they're all coordinated in time so that if you're driving the speed limit, you'll have the reduced probability of hitting a red light, so it'll be a continuous green. And then what Brooke had showed earlier on our drainage issue here in Santa Fe with the one of the noticeable occlusions to the pipe there.
How soon do they typically respond to kind of fix that?
We've only ever had them burrow through. When they burrow through our water lines, we know right away.
Immediately.
When they go through our sewer lines, we generally don't even realize
Yeah,
it.
sanitary sewer.
Send them that picture, I bet you
We
they'll be
would know.
shocked.
Yeah.
Sanitary sewer, we know. Stormwater, we,
Right.
until we find it.
So notable agenda items. The next council meeting, because of the President's Day holiday, will be on Tuesday. And we'll have a right-of-way co-op agreement with Sedgwick County Rural Electric, the work plan continuation, Cloverleaf Phase 2, and then Star Bond sale issuance. If it's not the 16th, it'll be in March. But we're kind of always just planning on the next one as we proceed. Then we have the Community Center Update Discussion 3 on March 1st. And then, again, kind of what we have lined out here, including the fleet budget, the fleet purchase, as well as discussion for the budget process and workshop beginning in March. And then the Tanganyika CID distribution, this is just an estimate, but I'm assuming it'll be late March or now early April. And then the annual roadway maintenance, which, again, we have it structured into essentially three pots. The first pot is for, pardon the pun, potholes, and that's on our ongoing street fund. And then we have the annual pavement preservation, and that's where we're sealing the existing roadways that we have that do not need to be rebuilt and to lengthen their life cycle. And then the final one is a full-on capital improvement project, often a full depth, and that's a capital improvement itself. And then we'll have, in addition to that, the chamber update and goals for March 15th as well. That concludes my report, if there are no questions.
So when is that ARC-HUD project going to be underway?
July.
July, okay.
But again, this is all KDOT, because it's a US highway, it's not
I was just curious.
Yeah, and we plan to bid in June.
More questions?
I know you did that loop around the bank there, but what happens if we continue east and we end up having to purchase stuff?
No, the way that the protective overlay for the flyover footprint and the northwest bypass, that all runs in and dead ends there in front of the bank. Or, I'm sorry, the bank and the Church of the Holy Spirit. You'll notice that their signs placed kind of in a unique spot. It just kind of looks like it's stuck out there, and that's specifically because of where the right-of-way curves around from the northwest bypass. So there'll be no further frontage road extensions to the east at this time without some sort of significant northwest bypass road redesigned by KDOT.
Okay. All right, Larry? You have any comments?
No, I think we did a good job on keeping the streets so high speed with the salt. Good job. Hopefully Fred gets up with his little scooter.
4 more days.
Okay, Sarah?
I want to thank Micah. I'm not sure if you were the one who reached out to Pathway or if it was the resident, but.
I reached out to Pathway on behalf of the city council's request.
Okay, that's what I thought. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that they are able to help her and get that situation remedied. Sad to see her leave, but I'm glad that it's seems like a much better resolution than where we were headed, so.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that we took steps to help out with that, and I appreciate Pathway.
Michael?
I will second my appreciation for Pathway Church stepping up and mobilizing some folks to go help out. Because, yeah, we were kind of not on a great trajectory there, and appreciate their offer to intervene sooner in the future.
Brent?
And I'm good today.
I'm not gonna leave Matt out because you're the man. I wasn't gonna forget you. I mean, all these other people did, but I didn't. So, thank you, Matt, for working on that. I think we're gonna have to make some type of video attachment just so the public knows what we did and what's actually gonna happen.
Let's plan something magical for the night we approve the new rates.
Okay.
Got that.
Right.
Do something special.
Well, if old Chicago was home.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all it- but
Now, you have the ability to approve, open containers in the council chamber for one night if you want to.
Nobody's gonna drive us all home.
Just let me know so I can wear this again.
But thank you, Matt, for so much for working on it. Thank you, Brent, for working on everything last night. And you guys really rushed to fix the situation, so I don't have anything else. We've got an executive session, don't we? So for consultation with an attorney on matters that would be deemed privilege and attorney-client relationship. So I look for a motion.
30 minutes.
Gotta read it.
30 minutes?
That should be more than plenty.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion to recess into executive session for consultation with an attorney on matters that would be deemed privileged and attorney-client relationship to include the city attorney and the city administrator. We will reconvene the open meeting in the city council chamber at
9:15?
9:15.
Okay.
to say, I've got a few words to say, and I'm gonna say them. Stand up,
It's just
pound on the
amazing.
desk when they come back in. I'm Stephen Perez, and I will be heard.
I recommend it. Yeah, I would.
I really want to shoot a good boar.
You can have a housewarming get together when it warms
Okay,
up.
let the record show.
Cook off some-
Any
Oh, yeah.
action
I'm gonna have a
taken
kegger.
During executive session, I look for a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Motion by Brent,
Second.
second by Michael. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed.